गुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितां येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you so much, Gayatri Mataji, for that beautiful invocation of our dear Lordships. So today we are doing Srimad Bhagavatam chapter chapter 3, verse chapter 2, verse 33 and 34. Apologies from His Grace Samadashi Prabhuji. He told me he'll be 10 minutes late, but we can continue with the trying to read the Sanskrit verses as needs for Prabhuji to join in. I thank you all for joining. Please accept my humble obeisances. God bless you. So I see we have Induleka, Induleka Mataji. Can we be start us the reading as well for Prabhuji? If possible.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, would you like me to read the verses?
Yes, ideally. Maybe we can repeat. We can try to repeat after you.
Okay, that is 33, right? Om
33,
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Varshatindre Vrajakopad Bhagnan Mane Sivivalah Gotra Lilatya Patrena Trato Bhadranugri Krishnata. Let's go to the word synonym, Prabhuji. Synonym: Varshati, in pouring water. Indra, by the king of heaven. Indra, Vrajaha, the land of cows. Vrindavana. Kopat, Bhagnamane, having been in anger on being insulted. Ati, highly. Vibalaha, perturbed. Gotra, the hill for the cows. Vila Ata Patrena, by the pastime umbrella. Trataha, were protected. Bhadra, O sober one. Anugrihnata, by cows. Sorry, by the merciful Lord. Translation: O sober Vidura, King Indra, his honor having been insulted, pour water incessantly on Vrindavana, and thus the inhabitants of Vraja, the land of cows, were greatly distressed. But the compassionate Lord Krishna saved them from anger with his pastime umbrella, the Govardhan Hila. Okay, I think Prabhuji is here. No? Okay, so let's continue, Prabhuji. Text 34. Sarachasi manya manayam rajani mukham gayan kalapadam vreme srinam mandala manda naha. Synonym: Sarat, autumn, Shashi of the moon, Karaihi by the shining, Mristam brightened, Manayan thinking so, Rajani Mukham the face of the night, Gayan singing, Kalapadam pleasing songs, Reme enjoyed, Srinam of the woman, Mandala Mandanaha as a central beauty of the assembly of women. In the goods of purpose now? Translation first, yeah. In the third season of the year, the Lord enjoyed as a central beauty of the assembly of women by attracting them with his pleasing songs in an autumn night brightened by moonshine. Purport: before leaving the land of cows, Vrindavana, the Lord pleased his young girlfriends, the Transcendental Gopis, in his Rasa Leela pastimes. Here, Uddhava stops with description of the Lord's activities. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the third canto, second chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Remembrance of Lord Krishna. So, Prabhuji is still not here. We can discuss a little bit on this only one word, like the pastime in Vrindavana, when Krishna, even it says, the Lord pleased his young girlfriends, the Transcendental Gopis, in his Rasa Leela pastime. So nowadays we see many people imitating Lord Sri Krishna. They want to dance with so many women. Even they are showing so many videos. One man dressed as Krishna in the middle, and so many women going around him, dancing, imitating the Lord. I think Prabhuji is here now. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for being here. So I'll stop, and then you take over, please. I just want to say a few words, and then I'll stop. Right? So nobody can pretend to be Krishna, and the Ras Leela is nothing of this mundane. It was on the spiritual platform, and Krishna just wanted to give pleasure to the gopis. That's why he danced. Nowadays, men will want pleasure for themselves. They want so many women around them. So I'll stop here. Some other day we will discuss about this. Thank you, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Over to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. And apologies for being late. Um, sorry, yeah, I've been mostly on the road today, and therefore I have delayed this session a little bit, so I won't take much time and go straight into it. I have attempted to prepare a feast for all of us, so I hope that it will be beneficial for all of us, including myself. So let me share my screen. Please enable me to share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
It's visible, but on the WhatsApp, not.
Okay, sorry, still not visible. Okay, let me try that again. Window. Okay, now.
Yes, it's
Okay, so last time I was supposed to cover chapter 3, I mean, Canto 3, chapter 2, the last two texts, correct?
yes,
Maybe you've already read them. Is that what has
yes,
happened?
yes. Agree.
Okay, perfect. Then in that case, I can just go directly into the presentation. Are you able to see the presentation?
Yes, the title of pride.
Okay,
You can
yeah.
maybe
So this
increase it.
is in connection to this verse of Lord Indra. So this verse is saying that the Supreme Lord Krishna desired to utilize the opulent financial strength of Maharaj Nanda for worship of the cows, and also he wanted to give a lesson to Indra, the king of heaven. Thus, he advised his father uh, to perform worship of Go, which means cow, or the pasturing land and the cows, with the help of the Brahmanas. So we all know this famous pastime, where Lord Krishna advises the inhabitants of Raj, the inhabitants of Vrindavan, not to do the sacrificial uh, rituals for pleasing Indra, and instead they should be used for worshipping the cows. Now, for civilized people, we understand the importance of cows. Without cows, we cannot have brahmanas. And cows are also dear to Krishna. So, what to speak of us? Without a cow, we cannot have ghee. Without ghee, we cannot have our yagyas. Therefore, any sober person understands the importance of cows. But upon hearing this, Lord Indra, because of his pride, because of his material position, he was completely bewildered. And because of this bewilderment, he did very atrocious acts. But Krishna, the protector of devotees, protected his devotees and also taught us all a very good lesson about pride and material positions. So, allow me to chant a mantra to offer my obeisances to my Guru, and then we shall go into it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shiyati Bhakti Dhiranam Damadare Tinamine Yati Shri Bhakti Tirtasya Gunabhavanartine Sarvada Sarva Bhaktanam Sarva Raksa Pradayane Shri Radha Krishna Gauranga Gyasi Sarvada Prabhu Nityananda Kripamurti Pranamami Puna Puna Jai. So, very happy to talk about this topic and to be with all of you here. Again, please forgive me for being late. So, today we're talking about pride, the real demon within. And I really like this topic because I am a patient, I am full of pride. And hopefully, I can share the pastimes to illustrate this. So, let's go into it. The children of pride. As we see here, we have a very cute little big bird. I say cute little big bird because it represents us. We're very small, but we like to puff up our chests. As you can see here, this chest of this bird is almost bursting out due to his immense false prestige. So, pride has a few children, and we have envy, we have anger, we have delusion, we have cruelty, and we have offenses. All of these are born out of pride. Just like we were discussing yesterday, that all bad qualities are related, just like good qualities are related. And I remember sharing the quality of enthusiasm and determination. They are both related, they go together. So, just like that, from pride, all of these are also born. And I had a very hard time seeing how I can order them in chronological order, but they're all kind of intertwined. They all feed off of each other. So let's move on to the first understanding. So, pride is unnatural. First of all, we are talking about pride because Lord Indra was exhibiting this demon within of pride. So, pride is unnatural. The living entity in pure consciousness and knowledge understands his or her position. We are 1/10,000, the tip of the hair. This is our insignificant size. So, you can imagine how small we are. Really, the size of the soul is this fraction that is on the screen. Therefore, there is nothing at all which is big about us. When we talk about pride, we talk about magnanimity, we talk about flamboyance, but we're really just a tiny speck of dust. And based off of that, at least with common sense, we should understand that we are insignificant. Our significance only comes about when we are at the lotus feet of Krishna. When we're connected to Krishna, then there is some significance to our life. So we own nothing and we depend on Krishna for everything. Literally, we own nothing. And there's a very, sorry? Okay. There is a very funny story about how Srila Prabhupada met a famous industrialist. And, generally speaking, industrialists or rich men are used to people flattering them. But this is not what Srila Prabhupada did. So when the industrialists came, they were sitting, they were speaking with Srila Prabhupada. And then Srila Prabhupada said, actually, you're a thief. And the industrialist said, how am I a thief? We're making glass. We are mining the sand naturally. We are not stealing from anyone. So Srila Prabhupada just looked at him and said, but where are you getting the sand from? You're taking it from the earth. So you're stealing. This is Krishna's property. And the industrialist was silent. He was humbled. So this is our position that we are exploiting Krishna's property and taking ourselves to be the proprietors. We're forgetting actually everything is borrowed. Even these bodies that we're very proud of, they're literally made up of the elements of the earth. It belongs to Mother Bhumi and Bhumi belongs to Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna, even these bodies. Therefore, they should be used in service. So, considering all of these points, factually, why should we be puffed up? It doesn't make sense. So, the cause of pride comes about as a result of false ego. So, false ego means mistaken identity. It means that we've come in contact with a vessel and we're taking ourselves to be the vessel. It is understood that when a soul enters a new body, it assumes the consciousness of that body or it plays the role of that body. If the soul goes into the body of a young boy, it will behave just like a young boy. And the soul goes into the body of a parrot, it will behave just like a parrot. We will not expect a parrot to behave like a young boy. But in the human stage of life, we are able to be conscious that actually our real position is not that of a human. We are higher than that. But in the conditional stage, we associate ourselves with our body. So, thinking ourselves to be the proprietors of the world and all that is in it. So, we believe that this is my body, this is my house, this is my country, and we believe that we are in control of those things which are around us and that we own them. The illusion of false prestige. During the course of our life, we get a little facility or position, and position is very dangerous. Position is a double edged sword. Position can be used to expand our service, and position can also be used to expand our false ego. It depends on the consciousness with which it is accepted. Bearing in mind all of these propensities of us thinking that we are the proprietors of the world, we can understand even a beggar is proud of his 2 pennies. We can be proud that I'm the Sankirtan leader. No books, no Harinam can be done without me. Or I am the Bhakta leader. None of them can go home without my sanction. I am the boss. You cannot take leave without getting my approval. You cannot get an appraisal without my approval. But what is the use of these insignificant so called powers in the face of eternity, in the face of demigods who are controlling the elements, who can kill us at any moment? But of course, they are the servants of Krishna. Therefore, we have nothing to worry about. The demigods have intelligence. Now we come to King Indra, blind with pride. When Indra understood that the sacrifice which was to be offered by the cowherd men in Vrindavan had been stopped by Krishna, he became angry and he vented his anger upon the inhabitants of Vrindavan, who were headed by Nanda Maharaj. Although Indra knew perfectly well that Krishna was personally protecting them, as the director of different kinds of clouds, Indra called for the Samvartaka. This cloud is invited when there is need to for devastating the whole cosmic manifestation. Now we come to the firstborn child of pride, who is baby envy. So Indra was envious that the sacrifice which was meant for him was now going to mere cows in his mind. It's going to the wrong person. But like I began explaining, actually religiosity and brahmanas are all intertwined. One cannot be separated from the other. So he was thinking that I'm the master of heaven, I'm the master of rain. So how can these people be getting what is allotted to me? So again, the sense of false proprietorship and false prestige that I am the one who should be receiving praises. I am the one who should be receiving sacrifices, not the cows. If he had appreciation for the cows, if he was not envious for the cows, there would have no resultant anger. Now we come to the second child of pride, anger. So this is the progression which one goes through when one becomes angry. So at first, we feel anger. When one becomes angry, they are at once covered with delusion. All of us have this experience when this overwhelming emotion of anger comes due to very little training in sense control. One may do things that they will regret. Sorry about that. Okay. Now, when one becomes angry, the next thing is delusion. And delusion means one becomes fully convinced of something completely false despite irreversible evidence. So when one becomes angry, we will take an idea and run with it. We will be fully convinced that it cannot be any other way. And really, we might actually know that we are wrong, but we do not want to succumb to intelligence. We do not want to discriminate right from wrong at that point. We just want to act on our anger. And that is why Srila Rupa Goswami explains in the Nectar of Instruction that one of the qualities of a Goswami, one of the qualities of a spiritual master is that he can tolerate the actions of anger. It means he does not act on his anger whimsically. And also Srila Prabhupada has explained in the Bhagavad Gita on a different spectrum that even for anger, there is a proper use for anger. It is not that a devotee can never get angry. There are several times when Srila Prabhupada got angry and chastised disciples very seriously. And similarly, for myself, I've also received very heavy chastisement from my Guru Maharaj, and it was very beneficial for me because it helped to break my false ego and discipline me. So, in that way, anger is utilized by a devotee. But in this situation, we're looking at it in the unfavorable mood. So, when one has become delusioned, they're completely convinced of something which is wrong. The next stage is memory loss. In a heightened state of emotion and delusion, one becomes unable to access the knowledge used to discriminate. So, discrimination is the whole process of discrimination is based off of knowledge. And as devotees, we are basing our knowledge off of the Shastras, which is bona fide. We all understand that the Shastra is referred to as Shruti or Shabda, that which is received by oral reception. It is explained by Srila Prabhupada in the Ishopanishad in the introduction. He explains that if one wants to know their father, if a baby wants to know their father, he'll simply go and ask from his mother. And when the mother explains, he has to accept. He cannot refute it. He was not there during the time of conception. So similarly, this is the way that the Vedas are accepted or the scriptures are accepted. So the knowledge coming from the scriptures is perfect, and especially Srila Prabhupada has worked so hard to preserve the essence of the scriptures and to easily make it accessible to us in a way that we can apply. So, this knowledge that we're collecting or that we're receiving by oral reception immediately cannot be accessed when one has fallen into this stage of anger. When we become delusioned, our memory is lost. And when we're not able to access that knowledge which helps us to discriminate, then we reach the last stage, which is loss of intelligence. Intelligence is lost. With no ability to distinguish right from wrong, under the influence of anger, we are led to act wrongly. And this is very self explanatory. We have all experienced this at some point in our life where you get angry and you lash out on someone. You say something that was very harsh, and after that, you feel awful. Or you can even get violent or break something, and you still feel that emotion in your body, which is very, very uncomfortable. So now we've covered anger. So we were discussing anger as one of the children of pride because Indra was prideful and he did not get what he wanted. Therefore, he was not able to discriminate and see that actually this so-called young boy is the supreme personality of Godhead. This is my boss. This is everyone's boss. Therefore, whatever he says is perfect. But due to anger, he said some things and did some things which he will regret, and he was not able to use his intelligence. So now we are at the stage of delusion. This is a quote from Lord Indra. Just see the impudence of the inhabitants of Vrindavan. They are simply inhabitants of the forest, but being infatuated with their friend Krishna, who is nothing but an ordinary human being, they have dared to defy the demigods. This is Lord Indra speaking. So you remember we explained that delusion means you're convinced without a doubt of something that is completely wrong, despite there being enough evidence to prove you wrong. So Lord Indra is no stranger to Krishna. He knows who Krishna is. And just by observing his pastimes as a child, it is easy to know that this is not a regular personality. But because of his anger, And sinking down to this level of delusion, he was convinced, and therefore he is referring to Krishna as a human being, and even calling him a boy. Now, from this delusion and from this anger, we are able to manifest cruelty. And remember, yesterday we were speaking and we explained that the cruelty can also be done subtly. It is not a must that we kill someone, it is not a must that we fight someone. So, Indra's cruelty. Indra called for the Samvartaka. This cloud is invited when there is a need to devastate the whole cosmic manifestation. The Samvartaka was ordered by Indra to go over Vrindavan and inundate the whole area with an extensive flood. So we can see this is an unnecessary use of power. This was completely uncalled for. You can see that the power, the magnitude of this cloud, the Samvartaka cloud, is used for annihilation. And it is explained in the Krishna book that a drop of water coming from the Samvartaka is the size of a pillar. Can you imagine? Right now, our rain is like many tiny droplets, but imagine if that rain was now magnified and each droplet was the size of a pillar. It's crazy. So just because you did not get some sacrifice, now you want to drown a whole village using this brute force. It's completely cruel. So, cruelty. This refers to inflicting pain onto others, physical and mental. Simply because his puffed up ego was burst, he wanted to kill all the inhabitants of Raj. He employed the use of the clouds of devastation to try and flood all the inhabitants. So we can see when one is proud, one can easily fall into anger. And when one falls into anger, one is very much inclined to become cruel. We will say something very harsh, or we will be very violent. And thus, we come to the stage of offenses. So there are several offenses which Lord Indra committed in this small saga that Krishna used to teach us a lesson. We should never think that I'm not like Indra. I'm much better than him, because each of us in our own small ways has some pride, and any tinge of pride leads to these other children. So, for example, Lord Krishna exhibited that he has nothing to do with pride at all, because in the Rasa Leela dance, at the point where the gopis just had a tinge of pride, not even much, you can understand the level of the gopis. They were all feeling that, oh, I'm so special, Krishna is dancing with me, because he had manifested himself in that way, and they all felt that they were the only ones receiving that kind of attention. Immediately, Krishna disappeared when he realized that they were starting to exhibit or to experience some pride. So we can understand that this pride is not at all attractive to Krishna, and it can lead to all of these unwanted children. We can call them our Varna Sankara for this session. So, offenses. The biggest cause of devotional stagnation. At that point where we feel we have no motivation at all for devotional activities to associate with the devotees, or our japa is just becoming so difficult, and it's almost like we can't do the japa, then we should understand that we have committed offenses to the devotees, and we should go and beg for their forgiveness. So, offenses means offending those who are dear to Krishna. You can imagine, if you have a child, if someone offends you, you can tolerate it. But if someone offends your very precious child who you love, or your very precious lover or family member, your wrath is 10 times more than if it was for your own being, because you really cherish this person. So, this is never taken lightly, and cruelty to devotees is a sure ticket to destruction. whether physical or subtle, whatever cruelty that is inflicted upon a devotee, Krishna takes it personally. And he has exhibited that in several pastimes in the Srimad Bhagavatam, especially the pastime of Durvasa, where he tried to curse the devotee of the Lord, and the Lord immediately sent his Sudarshan Chakra. So I've also experienced this in my own life. I remember when I was still a new bhakta, there's a time, I think a few months after initiation, I definitely developed a big head, and I was starting to, have friction with some of the senior devotees in the ashram. And at that moment, I lost my chanting beads. And the way I lost it, I still cannot explain it up to this day, because I literally left my japa mala, my bead bag, on a window, just like on like the pavement on a window, and this was inside the temple. I left the library. It was in Srila Prabhupada's library. I left the library. I went downstairs. I came back and it was gone. I was in total madness, in anxiety. I could not relax. I was looking for my beads everywhere. For those of us who are initiated, we understand the importance of the Japa Mala, which is given to us by the spiritual master. So when I was defeated in looking for the Japa Mala, I reached out to my Gurudev and I told him what had happened. And he told me, this is because you have become very offensive. So the holy name is running away from you. And I was devastated. I was like, okay, then I have to really change, because we understand that in Kali Yuga, our only shelter, our only means of rising above all our dirt accumulated in the heart is the holy name. So when the holy name runs away from you, then you should be very scared. So we should be very careful to avoid pride, anger, and all of these children of pride, so that we can not fall down like this man who's been kicked off the horse. You can see that he's no longer riding the horse of bhakti, but now he's on the floor. So, yeah, the offenses committed by Indra. Lord Indra firstly considered Krishna to be just like a human boy, forgetting his master and leading to more offenses. This is very important. One should never consider the guru to be an ordinary human being. That inevitably will lead to offenses and degradation. The spiritual master is the representative of Krishna, and therefore he should be treated as such. He should be cherished as such. Now, one should still create friendship with the spiritual master, but it is not a friendship of familiarity. So, because Lord Indra forgot the position of Krishna and forgot his own position, then it led to much more offenses. So we should also not forget our position at any moment. And our position is always the position of a servant. A humble servant can never commit offenses because he's always considering other people to be the object of service. So the other offenses he created is he insulted the pure inhabitants of Raj, reducing their level to be sentimentalists, simply forest dwellers. This is what he was calling them. He's calling them forest dwellers, and he was calling them sentimentalists, that they're just infatuated with Krishna. So Krishna cannot tolerate those people who who blaspheme the devotees, who have given up so many things in the search for his love or in love of Krishna. And these offenses are also, we recite them every morning. So, like for example, the first offense is related to the first offense to the holy name, which is, um, I don't think it's the first, but the offense is considering the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. So here, Lord Indra is clearly considering himself to be equal with Krishna, which is an offense. And then we go to the second offense over here, the second paragraph rather, which is he insulted the pure inhabitants. And we know another offense to the holy name is blaspheming the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy names of the Lord. So we can see that they're clearly related. And finally, by attempting to drown all of them by sending them very heavy rainfall, exhibiting violence and cruelty of the highest order. So the result of those who offend Krishna bhaktas is destruction. It is never anything else. So for my, like the example I gave you of myself when I was offensive, I lost my beads, and therefore I was not able to chant with the blessings of Guru Maharaj on the beads which he had given me. So eventually I had to go. I went to that very same devotee that I had offended and asked for forgiveness. And thankfully, the devotees are forgiving. Otherwise, I'd have been finished. So he forgave me, and from there, my Guru Maharaj sent me another pair of beads. And from that day, I've been very careful and cherish my beads very much, and also cherish the devotees because now understand the power that devotees hold because they're all dear to Krishna. So this brings us to the end of this presentation. Sorry, I think I rushed a little bit because I've come late. And also, I did not have enough time to make the presentation, the visual presentation, to the best of that it could be. But I hope that we still um, got something from it or benefited from it. So I'll shortly touch on this. We've talked so much about pride. So the cure for pride obviously is that we need to develop the quality of humility, which is our nature. The beginning of this presentation, I began by explaining that actually our natural position is very minuscule. It's very tiny. Therefore, humility is natural to us. Because we're small, we should act according to our position. Because we're not the controllers, we should act according to our position. And those who are not controllers are the controlled. So we can either choose to be controlled by Krishna or to be controlled by Maya. And I think the answer is obvious. So if we want to understand how one can be humble or how one can develop those qualities, there are several ways which I did not have time to put into this presentation. But uh, one of them is by listening to the pastimes of Krishna. If we are able to regularly listen to these pastimes of Krishna and even his devotees, we can understand their greatness. By understanding their greatness, we can introspectively see our level, and by taking shelter of them, we have the firm faith that eventually we'll also be purified of our anathas. It is not that we want to be equal to these devotees or equal to Krishna, but by understanding their greatness, we know that there is hope for us because these personalities are so great. So, I think we will just go through this verse shortly, and then I will close the session there. So, allow me to just open it separately. Oh, sorry, let me just open it here. 434. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Chapter 434. So, this is a description of what Krishna is explaining to us how one, the state of humble service. So this is also related to the spiritual master. And the verse is Tadvidi Pranipatena Pariprashanena Sevaya Upadikshyanti Te Jnanam Jnanistattva Darshina. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. The path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult. The Lord therefore advises us to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from the Lord Himself. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following the principle of disciplic succession. The Lord is the original spiritual master, and a person in the disciplic succession can convey the message of the Lord as it is to his disciple. No one can become spiritually realized by manufacturing his own process, as is the fashion of foolish pretenders. The Bhagavatam says, the path of religion is directly enunciated by the Lord. Therefore, mental speculation or dry arguments cannot lead one to the right path, nor by independent study of books of knowledge can one progress in spiritual life. One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge. Such a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender, and one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant, without false prestige. Satisfaction of the self realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination for spiritual understanding. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. One must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. Not only should one hear submissively from the spiritual master, but one must also get a clear understanding from him in submission and service and inquiries. A bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind toward the disciple. Therefore, when the student is submissive and is always ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect. So this is a very beautiful purport, and we understand that actually the test of having acquired real knowledge is that one develops humility. And here Srila Prabhupada is explaining how we can develop that real knowledge, how we can get that real spiritual understanding. And it starts with submission to the spiritual master. What does it mean to submit? To submit means to give ourselves fully. Literally, that's what it means to give ourselves everything about us. There is nothing to be reserved for my own enjoyment, there is nothing to be reserved for anyone else. Submission means I'm giving myself, I'm offering myself. And with this submission, one should render services. This has always been the process. I was just speaking to a friend of mine who has been in medical school, and he was telling me how he's been at the hospital, and for the doctors to help him and train him, he's saying that they give you work here and there. Basically, you're saying you have to serve them, and when they're happy with you, then they impart the knowledge to you. And here again, we're seeing it in the Bhagavad Gita. This knowledge is perfect. You remember we're discussing that the knowledge coming from the Shastra should be accepted, Shruti, just like when inquiring from the mother about the father. So we can see that this same concept is also applying in the material world. Yeah. So therefore, when one wants to actually develop real humility, they should act just like a menial servant. This is what Srila Prabhupada is explaining. One should act just like a menial servant. Doing menial service actually helps us to become humble. It is not that we should only do the services which are glorified or which we are good at, especially the services which we are good at. We should also endeavor to do those menial services which no one will recognize, which no one will see. And we have very great devotees who've exemplified this, like His Grace Indra Prabhu. He used to go and wash the toilets, not making a big fuss about it. He would go on his own, wear his gamcha, and wash the toilets. And this was in Vrindavan, long time ago. So you can be sure it was not a state-of-the-art toilet with very nice tiles, and it's not easy to clean. So it is such menial service. Menial service really helps one to become humble. So doing menial service and service which is outside of our comfort zone, this actually helps us to become humble. And in connection to doing service which is outside of our comfort zone, I found this very nice quote by His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami, and I'll end this presentation there. And the quote says this: when your desire to serve is beyond your capacity, yet you act without hesitation, at that is the moment empowerment occurs. I'll repeat. When your desire to serve is beyond your capacity, yet you act without hesitation, that is the moment empowerment occurs. So, dear devotees, that is the end of today's session. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for that beautiful session. It really, wow, it's been really, for me, it's been uplifting in terms of my approach to devotion and bhakti in general. Thank you so much for even the clarity of how we can fall down in terms of pride.
Mm.
And it's one of the greatest honors of others. And yeah, and also your really intimate pastimes with your Guru Maharaj. You really don't take such analogies for granted, and thank you for sharing them and for sharing them with us. Yeah, for example, it's so interesting that you shared how you lost your chanting bead, and then I remembered I also lost mine some 2 weeks ago, or maybe 10 days ago, and you're bringing up so much clarity because you make me reflect also on how have I been with other devotees, and so paradoxically, as more you indulge in Krishna consciousness, the more you associate with devotees, and this, the more you have, you're more prone to commit offenses than before you were in Krishna consciousness. Just a little bit paradoxical, but it's just how it is as I'm coming to see it. Yeah. And thank you for even giving me the clarity how maybe I should tackle such situation. Yeah, because I'm making your Guru Maharaj aware of really what is happening and where you're going astray in your bhakti. You have to hear. Yeah, maybe my only bit that was a little bit lucky, or maybe Krishna felt some mercy is my mom gave me her rosary, a Catholic rosary, which has 54 beads, the same day. Something very unrelated. So yes, it was quite. It was the day that we were moving out, and they gave me this rosary. Hey, have it. And apparently, a rosary of Catholic has 54 beads.
Mm.
Yeah, and so at least I'm used, but still, it is quite a lesson. And thank you so much for sharing, even
Yeah, thank
the
you. Thank you
approach.
for also Thank you for sharing, inviting, and also it is prudent to note that the duty of the guru also is to discipline the disciple. So the process of discipline creates humility, and this is what Krishna did for the King of Heaven, Lord Indra. So yes, we have to stick to the feet of the guru, and by his discipline, we will become truly humble. Now, I'd like to answer the question which Ananda Radhana Prabhu has put on the chat box. So the question is Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. I guess spiritual master here means both Diksha and Shiksha Guru, or is it Diksha only? Now, spiritual master refers to that person who we are receiving that spiritual instruction from, that person who is cultivating us and who we've accepted also. It is not that a spiritual master is imposed. It is a relationship. Therefore, this spiritual master has taken responsibility for our spiritual life, and we have also similarly accepted them as the authority in our life. Now, the level of Shiksha Guru sometimes may look as though it is not as elevated, but a bona fide Shiksha Guru is as good as a Diksha Guru. For example, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his Shiksha Guru is the one on our altar, on our Guru Parampara. That is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Shiksha Guru, because he was that relevant and pivotal in his spiritual life. Therefore, if we have a bona fide Shiksha Guru, they can also be, uh, they can and they should also be offered that same amount of respect. They should be given that menial service also. But the most important thing is that they should be qualified to receive such service. So I hope that answers your question, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Is there any other questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. There's no question. Thank you very much for the nice presentation, the nice explanation also. And you explain about anger. And in Bhagavad Gita, I think chapter 2, verse 63, Krishna says, Krodad bhavati sammoha sammohat vriti brahmanaha vriti brahmasad buddhinaso buddhinasat pranashyati. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewildered of memory. When the memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. But
Yes.
here we see how even Indra was angry against the Brajavasis and Lord Krishna. Krishna forgave him. Krishna forgave him. Why? Because he went to Krishna in a secluded place with the Surabhi cows. And then he asked for forgiveness. Why Krishna forgave him? Because we see Brahma also has stolen all the cow and boys and the cows. But Krishna didn't forgive Brahma. Brahma had to come back as Haridas Thakur in the Gaur Leela. But here, Krishna forgave Indra because Indra had the opportunity to associate with all his devotees for 7 nights and 7 days. He wanted all of them together. When he goes to the pasturing ground with the cows, only the boys go with him. When he's at home, only the gopis. So he never got the opportunity to have everyone under one umbrella. That's what Indra did. So Indra got everybody underneath one umbrella. That's why Krishna was so happy at the same time. But not for Brahma, because Brahma separated from the devotees. That's why he doesn't like. He likes a connection. He doesn't like the separation. So thank you, Prabhuji. You explained so nicely about all these children of anger and how we should behave. And also, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for that very in-depth tattva. I never heard that, and it makes so much sense. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Also,
Krishna.
Indra, So it's also, it's Indra who gave the name Govinda. When he started doing the arati and offering abhishek to Krishna, so he called Krishna Govinda because Krishna was protecting the cows. So that's why the name Govinda comes, protector of the cows. That's Govinda. Thank you. Go ahead, Gayatri Mataji.
Hare
Thank
Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Beautiful, beautiful. Again, it was very nice. Now I can actually dig deeper, like why we are getting anger and why how the pride is the main reason of anger. And when we go deeper and deeper, our understanding also gets deeper, and then we will change our way of doing things like anger or any of those things, like when we are offending or being envy or any of those things, automatically slowly it should get better, and we can understand that we are so insignificant, and our position is the servant of Krishna. So which is really deep, and really understanding better and better understanding of our own selves. So nice, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for all these classes. We are really blessed to have be being part of this classes. Thank you. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All right, Mugo, I think now it's up to you.
If there's no other question, I think we can end the session. It has been a beautiful discussion. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for that great discourse, so much clarity. So I'd like to request Grace Induleka Mataji to kindly end. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Please, can we all unmute and say one time of Hare Krishna on the glorification of Darshini class? And we request him to come again because we love his class, right? So let's show the appreciation. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Yasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo
Grantharaj Srimad
Bhagavatam
Bhagavatam
ki jai,
Srila Prabhupada
Pad
ki
ki
jai,
jai,
Guru Maharaj ki jai,
ki jai.
His Grace
Samadharshi Prabhu ki
Ki
jai.
Jai. Prabhu ki jai.
All of you ki jai. Thank you for attending. Hare Krishna.
Gaur
Hare Krishna.
Pramanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hare All right, Hare Prabhu ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.